This is Don Mazzella for Small Business Digest. We have Jon Matuszak with us today. He's a very interesting guest. As usual, I'll let the guest tell you all about it. But first, Jon, welcome to the program.
Don, thanks so much for having me on Small Business Digest. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, I think I mispronounced your name. I thought it was Matuszak. Did I pronounce it correctly?
That is, in fact, perfect.
Okay, well, sometimes I don't get it that way. But anyway, Jon, as we ask all our guests, tell us first a little bit about yourself personally, then about your company and anything else, and finally a website.
Sure. So, personally, I'm a dad with two kids, 16 and 14. In fact, we have an eAtlas event tonight. They're going to come with me and help out. I live in the western suburbs of Downers Grove. I've been in Chicagoland my entire life. My professional career has revolved around the production and delivery of technology services, pointed primarily at the marketing services space. So the terms like big data and analytics, which are very prominent today, we helped invent those terms some time ago, and learned a lot about direct marketing, targeted marketing, and about the commercial applications of technology. And then when that wonderful run ended, as all runs tend to do, I was approached by the principals at eAtlas, and they came to me. In fact, one of the primary investors is a neighborhood friend and associate from our neighborhood board. And he came to me one night and said, "Hey, Jon, I've got an investment in a mobile app company. Why don't you run it for me?" I said, "Gosh, Biz, that'd be great, except I don't know anything about the company." So he opened up his phone, dialed the number, handed it to me and said, "Here, talk to this guy." And that guy turned out to be one of the co-founders, Ed Kahn. And so after a lot of back and forth, I started doing some pro bono work for the startup, and then came back to him and said, "Gosh, guys, this is a great idea. I think it has legs, but what's stifling it is no one has the time dedicated to making it go." And I nominated myself, and frankly, Don, somewhat to my surprise, they said, "You're in." And so for the last 18 months, all day, just about every day, has been dedicated to moving eAtlas along. And eAtlas is a mobile app that enables people to go on guided tours and treasure hunts right from their smartphone. So as we like to say, it's on demand in the palm of your hands. Our website is playeatlas.com, and it's been up for a while. I encourage your listeners to go take a peek. The app has been available on the app and Play stores for some time. I have also, of course, encourage your audience to download the app and check it out. It's both interesting and a lot of fun.
Will you spell it out for our audience?
Sure. The website is eAtlas, eAtlas.com. And when searching in the Google Play or Apple app stores, you simply put in eAtlas, do a search on that, and we're the only one out there. It'll pop right up. It's free to download, and you'll quickly be looking at a wealth of what we call eAtlas experiences, these guided tours and treasure hunts across Chicagoland, which is where we're launching.
Okay, well, now that we have the framework, let's get down into the details. Because I became fascinated by the idea. Will you explain first in more detail about Play Atlas and how entrepreneurs can make money off of it?
Sure. So one of the really unique features of the eAtlas venture is that it revolves around sharing, Don. And by that, I mean that we've created a forum, an opportunity for people to share what they love. Those people are anyone with an interest and an expertise and a passion about a particular neighborhood. They might be fascinated by its history. They might be fascinated by its architecture, its art, but some aspect of that neighborhood or locale interests them, excites them, and they want to share what they know about it to curious people. What we call these passionate, creative people are woe guides. They're the folks that create the content, the video clips, the audio clips, the words, the pictures, the multimedia mix that goes into an eAtlas experience, these guided tours and treasure hunts. And they create these experiences on what we call the eAtlas portal. Becoming a member of that portal doesn't cost anything. They build these experiences on their own, using their own sort of brains and ideas and creativity. And then we review their finished draft product, we publish it, and then it's available to anybody that's downloaded the app. So the neat thing, back to the sharing motif, Don, is that each purchase of an eAtlas experience, let's say it's a $10 tour of Millennium Park in Chicago, each purchase of an eAtlas experience, 70% of that purchase price goes back to the woe guide who created that experience. So there's sort of a natural incentive for them to build more and better experiences. And by doing so, they're providing an ever-expanding roster of experiences for consumers to participate in.
Well, let me see if I understand this, because it fascinated me when I read about it. And since I know a lot about the Greenwich Village area of New York, I'll take that. I would go to you when you opened up, say, in the New York area, and say, I will create a tour of the important places that literary people lived in that are still existing in Greenwich Village. Did I understand it correctly?
You're exactly on target. That's precisely how we do it. And another of the interesting, unique features of the eAtlas app itself and the platform supporting it is that you don't have to wait for us to open up in New York. You could build that tour of Greenwich Village today. I would send you an email invite to our eAtlas portal, as we call it. You would click on the link in that invite and you'd become a woe guide and you'd be able to build that stuff. The only trick is our ability to help you market it in New York area would be constrained until we launch in New York. Right now, we're concentrating our marketing resources and activity in Chicago. But from my office here in suburban Chicago, I can build a tour in Berlin, in Paris, in Tel Aviv, Buenos Aires, anywhere across the globe. And so could you, and so could any of the members of your listening audience.
But John, let me go back a little bit. I wouldn't have to go physically and photograph, let's say, the building where Emily Dickinson lived, or Edna St. Vincent Millay. Would I go photograph the building and then upload it into your app as part of the tour?
Yes, you would. So you would either have these content materials. They might be photos, they might be video clips, they might be audio clips, but you'd have some amount of content that you would have on some device, your laptop, your desktop, even your smartphone itself or a tablet, and then you would upload them to our platform. It's exceedingly easy. YouTube is our video management repository. Audio clips are very easy to make using free software available on the internet. And so you, again, today, literally, Don, you could become a woe guide, and we'd be glad to have you. If you have that interest in literary figures in Greenwich Village over time, that's exactly the sort of thing that our woe guides are fascinated about, and it's exactly the sort of thing that they use eAtlas to share. We've got tours right now in Chicago, Don, that are of a particular neighborhood in Chicago called Bronzeville. It's an African-American area. It's not quite as prominent as Harlem per se, or as well known, but has a similarly rich history. We've got a guy a woe guide, who is fascinated by bricks. He has built an entire eAtlas experience, which he calls the Bricks of Chicago. And he educates people about everything he knows about bricks. Another guy does a tour of workers' cottages. We've got art sculpture, art deco, And we've also got the conventional tourist experiences for Navy Pier, for Millennium Park, that sort of thing. But a lot of it, the bulk of our experiences are really sort of interest focused. And they're exactly like what you've described in terms of a literary tour of Greenwich Village.
Well, but let me back up. How is the duration? Does the person walk the tour or look at the video or
Yeah,
look at the program?
yeah, that's a great question, Don. I'm just silencing my phone so we won't be interrupted. Um, all of our eAtlas experiences occur in the real world, meaning that our customers, the participants in these experiences, need to go to a particular place and participate in the experience from there. And it might be a 30-minute a walking tour. It might be a 2-hour walking tour. We've had a wall guide who wanted to build an experience about a train trip from Chicago out to South Bend, Indiana, and back. So it can be all over. But they are not virtual experiences, meaning you're not sitting on your couch looking at the Sistine Chapel. And that's for a couple reasons. One is that we felt it important to get people outside and active in doing stuff, actually participating in the real world, not participating in the virtual world. Another important factor is, as I learned when I became more familiar with the mobile app world, is that Apple and Google have a lot of authority and influence in this world. And so let's suppose, Don, that you had a nephew or a niece that liked to play video games on their mobile phone. And that video game required them to purchase, let's say, a piece of armor or a new tank or something that would help them succeed in that game. And they spent $10 to do it. Well, 30% of that $10 purchase by your niece or nephew, $3 goes back to Apple or Google. Okay, so when we were getting ready to publish what we call version 3 of the eAtlas app, we wanted to be able to share more money with the WO guides and less money with Apple and Google. So we successfully, over time, made the argument with them that eAtlas is actually a physical experience facilitated by a mobile device and digital goods such as video clips and audio clips and the like. And to demonstrate that we were arguing in good faith, we committed that none of our experiences would be accessible unless you're within 5 kilometers of the experience. So while I, out in Chicagoland, could purchase your Greenwich Village tour, I couldn't actually participate in it until I was within 5 kilometers of the starting point. Does that make sense?
How does it work? Let's say the fee is $10 for the tour.
Mm-hmm.
You said earlier that that's a $10. Where do you make your money?
We take care of all the payment processing fees. So out of that $10, $7 goes directly to the WO guy. Okay.
$7.
Of the $7, so
okay.
70%.
Right.
70% goes to the WO guide. We make our money on the remaining 30% after payment processing fees.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a little different as a business model. Gross revenue to us is really what net revenue is to most companies, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think of that $10 as gross revenue. I think of the $3 as gross revenue. And then our costs, our operating expenses come out of that $3.
Well, I absolutely think you have a fascinating idea. It's a tremendous idea and necessary. If I go and take the tour, there is a tour of literary people, the literary locations in Greenwich Village. It's $35. Okay. But what you get on it is you get the tour itself. But for instance, on a tour, you always want to ask a question. Can you ask a question? You reach Edna St. Vincent Millay's house, and you say, "Gee, did she ever have a lover?" Um, can you ask the originator question?
Yep. So you can't. in real time, although that's an interesting idea. And Don, I have spoken about eAtlas and what it does to literally hundreds of people over the last couple of years. You're the first person that has ever broached that subject. So the answer is, at present, it doesn't allow that degree of interactivity. You're not directly connected to the Woe Guide. However, you will soon be able to insert comments in the experience that will enable the Woe Guide to actually look at those comments and respond. You can submit inquiries to us via the website that we would certainly respond to. And now that you mention it, you've given me another, my task list, Don, is already this long. So thanks a lot. Now you've made it this long. So now I have to figure out a way to do that.
Thank you, and I hope it helps. But it seems to me, if you added that dimension to it, even if it's just an instant message to the originator, and that person then could get back, it would enhance the tour. And anyway, we can go on, but I'm glad I gave you an idea.
Don, in all sincerity, it's a great idea. As often happens, as I've learned on this journey, you'll meet someone, they'll come up with an idea that you feel like, I should have thought of that months ago, but we haven't, right? And so you live and you learn, and I will now have to figure out a way to install that degree of interactivity in the app. So I'll be on it.
Okay. Well, let's go back now. How are you marketing this product?
So Don, there are two large questions that we needed to address in regard to the success of this adventure, and to sort of to validate the business model and sort of the commercial proposition of eAtlas. The first question was, is there a community out there in a given place, call it Chicago, call it Boston, call it Berlin, call it New York, wherever it might be? Are there a community of people who have this insight, this interest, this passion about a particular place, and a real desire to share it? And then how do we find them? Can we identify them? Can we persuade them to join us? Can we get them to build these experiences? So we set about initially looking at Austin, Boston, Chicago, and San Francisco. And we launched a digital marketing campaign to all four of those geographies. And we received a lot of traffic. We received probably 10,000 visitors to our website. And Don, I'm ashamed to admit that we recognized at that point, 10,000 visitors later, that our website was inadequate. It wasn't taking people along the path they needed to go on to get to the app and to do what we needed them to do. So we scrapped that marketing program and we rebuilt, and from the ground up, the website. So the website that I hope your audience will visit is brand new and is far superior to what we had. So we got that done. I also took the step, and then we also decided we're going to shrink our targets to just Chicago. We're all from Chicago or surrounding suburbs. We felt we had connections here that might be helpful. We decided to focus our efforts on Chicago. And we hired a lady named Kelly Newell, who became our outreach person to the Woe Guide community. She herself is a current tour guide. She knows a lot of tour guides. We were looking for tour guides, people with an interest in art, architecture, history, anybody that was fascinated by some aspect of Chicago that they wanted to share. And Kelly successfully found these people, persuaded them to join up, persuaded them to build experiences in eAtlas. We've got 35 plus really high caliber experiences. I have to admit, Don, that I used to do a lot of this building myself. I've learned now that I see what the Woe Guides have done, that I was terrible at it. I mean, really bad. and they're much, much better. So we answered one really big question, which was, is there a community of people out there with the talent, the expertise, the interest to build these experiences? We believe the answer to that question is a resounding yes. We further believe that given that we found him in Chicago, we think it's reasonable to assume that we'll find him in New York, we'll find him in Berlin, we'll find him in Seattle, we'll find them across the globe. Because we believe that human creativity and passion and knowledge and expertise are among the greatest underutilized resources in the world. And that same world is filled with curious people. Our job then becomes to bring these two groups together, right? These folks that have the knowledge, the expertise, and the passion, something they really want to share that will satisfy the curiosity of people across, literally across the globe. So once we had the WOGUIDE community built in Chicago and they were busily about the business of creating eAtlas experiences, we then embarked on what we thought of as our business to consumer marketing campaign. Now we're trying to raise awareness and adoption in Chicago and persuade people to participate, to both download the app and actually participate in these eAtlas experiences, these guided tours and treasure hunts. So we use the traditional digital marketing channels. We launched display ads. We use geofencing. We use retargeting. We launched social media as to Facebook and Instagram. And through July and August, through June and July, we've had more than 2 million plus impressions from those, from just geofencing, retargeting, display ads alone. We've had 400,000 plus on the social media side. We've launched, delivered roughly 350,000 emails across that span. We've attended trade shows. We've participated in media events such as the Small Business Digest. So we've done everything we think we can and should to raise awareness, and it's had some effect. Our name is getting out there in Chicagoland. Our downloads are rising. Our registrations in the app are rising. And then there comes the second question, Don, that I referred to, and that is, okay, we've got the WOGUIDEs, and that's great, and they're critical to our success. In fact, a good portion of this enterprise revolves around them. We like to say that we make it easy, they make it amazing. So we need them, we hope they need us, and together we're trying to satisfy the curiosity, enrich the lives, if you will, of people everywhere. And that's where the consumers come in. So the second question becomes, how do you reach them? How do you get them interested in the app? And more importantly, how do you get them using it? How do you get them purchasing experiences so our WOGUIDEs start to see the promise of our offering, which is that they will generate an independent income stream, that they will start to put money in their pocket. And so we're busily embarked on that business. In August, we will be going to festivals throughout Chicago. This weekend, I'll spend the entire weekend at a booth at an event called North Halstead Days, expected to be attended by 100,000 people. And I'll be preaching the gospel of eAtlas at that event, seeking to interest people in the app and get them to download it and let the app show them what it can deliver.
Oh, I'm sure you thought about it, but the tourist books that people pick up, those free tourist books, to me, I'm always surprised how they've managed to survive the online world. But anyway, Jon, you have a couple of minutes left. What would you like to leave our audience with? And will you repeat first off, repeat your website from the beginning and at the end so people know your website?
So the website is playeatlas.com, PLAYEATLAS.com. I'd encourage all of your audience to take a look at the website. The app itself is simply eAtlas. It's available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store as we speak. And you just do a search on eAtlas, eAtlas. It'll come right up. It costs nothing to download, and you'll quickly be able to see all the experiences that we have available. The message I'd give to your audience is that our ambitions are indeed global, Don. We're not content to have a cool offering in Chicago. We want this to spread across the world because we view it as a means, genuinely view it as a means for people to create an independent income stream for themselves. And they do that by sharing what they love. And in that act of sharing what they love, they're also enriching the lives of consumers. They're giving them an interesting experience that they do on demand. It's when they want to do it. They're not waiting for the bus. They're not thrown into a group with others. They decide on a Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to do this at 5. They decide on a Saturday, I'm going to take my family downtown and I'm going to go on this experience of Millennium Park. It's when they want to do it. They pause it, they restart it, but it's for them. It's what's convenient for them. So everything we've done revolves around making it easy for the Woe Guides, making it easy for our consumer audience, and trying to bring those two audiences together.
Your website one last time?
playeatlas.com.
Okay. Jon, on that note, we say thank you very much for an extremely interesting time. We have to stay in touch because when you prepare for New York, I'm going to offer you 2 tours.
Well, Don, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to have as many of your audience members as they like, either as Woe Guides, building these wonderful experiences, or as consumers participating in experiences. They'll win either way.
Okay. On that note, thank you, Jon.